to another episode of Books and Betches. We're back.
We're back.
But don't confuse us with books and...
We're back.
I'm Kristen, and with me I have...
We're
Stop.
back.
Stop. That's Erica and...
Maria.
And that's Maria.
We're back.
Okay, we're back. Yeah. I mean, we were on a break. It was great.
We were on a break.
I really enjoyed it.
We were on a break.
You know what's so funny? So we went on the break. Our last recording was in November, I think.
Yeah.
Or September,
Yeah.
October?
Yeah.
A while ago.
Yep.
Right? And we're like, oh my gosh, all these books that we're going to read, we can read them like slowly. There's no rush. We're on a break.
Frantic.
Guess who did not read everything until 2 weeks ago?
Both of you.
If you're watching... Oh, you didn't? You read everything
She
throughout
read
the break?
everything ahead of time and then read it again.
Well, Crescent City, it's not fair because you were going to read it anyway.
But she already read it. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
and I already read Iron Flame too. So.
Oh, okay. So you don't count.
so yeah, I read Iron Flame like 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
And then Crescent City I read this week.
But I did frantically rewatch the episode of this book.
Okay, well, for those of you who are new here, we're a book podcast. We swear, we spoil, we talk about sex, and we suck at it. Quadruple S. And this week, we're talking about something that's highly anticipated, and I think the third book's coming out soon. But that book is Crescent City. What is the rest of that?
House of Sky and
House
Breath.
of Sky and Breath.
By Sarah J. Maas.
Sarah J. Maas.
There's so much that happens in this book, and there's so much that we want to say about it.
There's so much that doesn't matter.
Let me give you a warning at the top of this. If you have not read this book, do not listen to this podcast. Not just because of the spoilers, but because
doesn't make sense.
we are not going to go fully into the plot here because we can't. We don't have 3 hours to do it.
So typically in our episodes, like some of you guys listen to our episodes because you're like, oh yeah, like we'll like figure it out along the way because we talk about the plot
Exactly.
throughout this. We can't do that for this book. And the reason we can't do that is we watched somebody break it down, and it was a 3 hour, 45-minute YouTube video.
2.5 hours.
So let's shout.
3 hours.
I want to shout her out.
Yeah,
I want to shout
please.
her out. Carrie can read on Carrie spelled Cari on YouTube is an angel among humans.
It's actually how I know everything about these books.
She was doing the
She's
Lord's
doing
work.
the Lord's work. So she not only broke down Crescent City 1, the entire plot, which was about 2 hours as well.
Watch the whole thing.
She also broke down Crescent City 2, the entire plot. And I am so grateful to her because even though I read the whole book, she broke down things that would matter later on in the book that I was not registering. So I was like, whatever.
I don't even know how she did that. I don't know how she did it.
She's an
So
angel.
I want to say, if you have not read these books and you're like, okay, yeah, whatever, I don't need the plot, I just want to listen to your thoughts. Just go watch her video. Go over to YouTube, type in Carrie Can Read Crescent
You could
City.
do the playback speed to 2 times.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. Like
She
it
does have
wasn't
a
even-
beautiful voice, though.
She has an amazing. I love her voice.
Yeah.
I have a little girl crush on her because
So
from her voice.
it's crazy. I haven't read either of these books, and I know everything about these
She
books.
breaks it down so well.
Like, I genuinely feel like I read them, and I have to say,
if only we did that podcast like that.
the first, I wish we knew about it before because we really fucked that first one up. But the first one, I talked a lot of shit. I still have a lot of shit to talk, but I actually found myself being like, oh, I kind of want to know what happens next, and like going back to her video, like I got invested. And maybe it was because the way she read
Carrie did it well.
But either way, there was parts I got really sad when the Lahaba died.
Yeah.
I like choked up.
I cried during the actual like chapter
and I
when read
didn't
it.
even read it. So that's what I want to give
Lahaba.
that at the top. And we are still going to try to do a 60-second of
I
this
want
book.
to try it.
Yeah, I love that you want to try it because it's so funny.
Because I think Erica did it last time, but it just didn't do well.
No, I think you did it.
Well,
No, I thought she did. Because the horn and like.
I think I was like, you have to do it or something. No, she fucked up the whole.
Okay.
I'm
There's
just
not
saying.
a lot of good 60 seconds under my belt.
Well,
so.
no,
You have a couple. You have a couple.
not many. But
Not many.
Crescent City, the first one, I was completely out of the know.
House of Earth and Blood or whatever.
This time, I feel like I'm ready. I have things to say.
Thank
I
God
wrote
for Carrie,
notes.
man.
So, yeah, thank you, Carrie. Maria, do we want to hop into the 60 seconds here? So I have a lot of questions to ask Erica about a lot of things that she has said.
let's just get it out of the way. Let's see how I do.
Okay.
I know I'm better at these than you two. But
Yeah,
this
way
might
better.
be the one that really like is hard for me. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna really try.
Okay.
We're not making it easy for you. This is definitely how many pages is this book?
Too many. It's too many.
How many?
I think over 840.
Jeez. Okay.
I don't-
Maria,
too many.
If you're new to this podcast, we do this thing where we attempt to explain the entire plot summary of a book in 60 seconds or less. This week, Maria has her hands full with Crescent City 2, the most convoluted book of all time.
Oh my god.
All right, Maria, are you ready?
I deserve an apology from Sarah J. Maas.
We demand a public apology.
Oh,
Public apology.
Okay.
Here we go, Maria. In 3, 2,
okay.
1, go.
We are starting 3 months after the end of Crescent City 1. Bryce and Hunt are keeping it on the low because they don't want to get killed by the Asteri. They're not having sex yet because for some goddamn reason. Through it all, we are getting new characters, side plots left and right. We have some mer people. We got a wolf. We got more wolves. And basically, we find out that Danica had more secrets because the bitch has so many. And we find out that she was trying to find out her lineage because apparently they were there before the even Asteri were there, because
30.
we find out that the Asteri this entire time have been siphoning power from the people of Midgard. Everyone from Midgard are actually fae and different creatures from different planets that the Asteri brought onto the planet and are siphoning their power.
Yes.
So throughout of all of this, Bryce is trying to figure out how what
15.
Danica knew, why she knew it, and then she gets to the Asteri
10.
and she's coming after them, and they're like, "This is my whole plot." And she's like, "All right, Mr. Villain." And then she jumps into another world to try to get the
5,
Hell people to
4.
save them, and then she jumps into the Akatar world, and we see Rhysand.
Wow. Breathe.
Wow.
That was so good. Yeah, you would have never. We would have been talking about like a fucking Thunderbird for the whole 60 seconds if you
Yeah.
did that. And that's the
Yeah.
first chapter.
Wow.
Did
That's
I
the
do good?
prologue.
I
You
think
did
it was as good
amazing.
as it can be done.
That was incredible.
I have asthma,
Bravo.
so it's hard for me.
You did really, really well. I wasn't sure if
Thanks,
you were going to
guys.
get to the end, which is like why everybody
I
reads this book.
I had to skip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's too much in this book.
Why?
There's just too
But
much
what's
information in this book.
What's crazy is a lot. And Carrie put it so well. We get given these dumb scenes that don't matter, but a
Yes.
sliver
Of something
of
matters.
a plot point is thrown into pages and pages and pages of fluff.
I think this series and this book specifically is an accumulation of a career that somebody like Sarah J. Maas is so successful, and she's had 2 other extremely successful book series, and now it's like, well, you're just gonna read what I write. Like it's just like you're just gonna get what you get.
Yep.
And
To me, it
this
feels
is
like no. To
Yep.
me, it feels like I'm going like
I'm
I
gonna
want
do
to
whatever
be.
the fuck
I
want
to be George R.R. Martin,
Here's
and
how
I'm
I
gonna.
feel. Here's
No.
how I feel about it.
I don't think
I
so.
was talking to Kate about this. I feel like Sarah is pulling a Cassandra Clare right now.
That's what I wrote down. Cassandra Clare
I feel
vibes.
like
What do
she's
you mean?
Cassandra Clare, how she hasn't written outside of the Shadowhunters like
realm at
realm
all.
like ever in the decades. she's
All
been
of her
writing.
million books somehow connect.
And
in
I
some
could be
way.
wrong on this because I haven't read all of Cassandra Clare's stuff. I've only read the first Mortal Instruments book, but from what I saw,
Yeah,
it
they all
feels like
connect.
it's all in the same world,
Yes.
right? I feel like Sarah has entered this world now where she's just gonna make her own Marvel universe
Yes,
and not write outside of it.
I don't
and-
think that's true.
I do.
That's
I
my
do 1,000%. That was the
No,
vibes
because I
got.
don't think that there's no other additional stuff that indicates there's another world from where you know
She
what I
just
mean?
jumped into the Akatar world.
So there's 2. So for in Throne of Glass, Aelin is the main character in Throne of Glass. She
Mhm.
falls.
You're not going to
through-
give out any spoilers, right? For Throne of
I
Glass?
am giving. A
Okay,
little
so
bit.
just
It's
a
not-
warning.
It doesn't.
If you
matter.
haven't read Throne of Glass,
It
It
matters.
doesn't. It doesn't fucking matter. She's falling through worlds. I'm not giving the context of why she's falling through worlds. She's
Okay.
falling through worlds. She sees Rhys and she sees what looks like Crescent City. Those are the 2
Yeah,
things that were
so
named
everything
as she's falling through
connects.
worlds. There was no other city that was mentioned. There was, you know what I mean? So it was Rhysand in Night Court, and then there was an unnamed city that looks like
Mhm.
Crescent City.
but it
Mhm.
means that they're all in this world that Sarah J.
Yes,
Maas-
but I'm saying
Yeah.
like, but those are the 2 series that came after Throne of Glass.
right.
right. So they're still all
So
part
the-
of it.
Yes, but those 3 books are Crescent City after this next release is done.
Isn't that like a 6-book series?
No, it's 3 books.
But either way, I think like
And Akatar only has one. Akatar has 1 big book and 2 novellas left.
But I think that's kind of the vibe, though, of what Cassandra Clare's doing.
I'm still standing by
Yeah,
what
same.
I said. I
Same.
feel like this is starting what is a Cassandra Clare kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where she's entering her own world that she wants and she's going to write
Yeah.
within it. Whether it's a spin-off thing here and left, whatever. The fact that we ended Crescent City 2 with Bryce showing up at the Night Court.
I think it's the smartest thing she could have possibly
it's
done.
smart. And we're not saying it's
smart
bad.
or bad. I'm
We're
just
just saying it's
that's what
similar.
it
But
feels
isn't
like.
Yeah.
isn't Cassandra Clare's all like the same genre?
No.
No.
I mean,
She writes a lot of different stuff. It's just they all kind of like fall into like the shadow hunter realm. So I think like it's similar where it's like the realm or the world that she's created in her head intertwines occasionally. I think it's very similar.
Because like Throne of Glass is YA. Throne of Glass is YA high fantasy. ACOTAR is romantasy. And Crescent City to me is strictly urban fantasy.
I fucking hate urban fantasy, and that's what I've learned from this book. Because is what makes it urban fantasy the fact that they talk like teenagers? Is that what brings it together?
It's the fact that it like the world resembles
because
she has or like suburban. Like
this is what pisses me off.
That Crescent City is essentially like a fey New York City.
Fine. She has every mythical being in this book. It's very fantastical, right? There's a lot of fantasy happening. Why the fuck does she say things like alpha hole and team fuck you and they're all saying like shit that I would have said when I was 18. I hate that shit. That takes me, that is my biggest gripe with Sarah J Maas and why I can't read these fucking books is because I'm getting into something and then all of a sudden they'll say some shit that I'm just like, okay, are these teenagers or adults?
I hate the word alpha hole.
I hate everything about that's juvenile writing and you're writing something so complex. You're writing something that takes, you have about 18 different plots and a million characters, something as deep as what Game of Thrones would be, right?
Yeah.
And then you throw in a word then you throw in a word like alcohol and I'm like, I am not in this anymore. This feels juvenile. It feels like a fucking teenager wrote this and like I think that is where my problems with Sarah J.
I don't
Maas
think
lie.
that was
it didn't happen in ACOTAR.
Like in ACOTAR, and it wasn't what it was like in Throne of Glass either.
So that's why I thought I was
and
like, it must
Aelin
be
was
urban
18.
fantasy. That's why I was like, oh, is that what an urban fantasy is? But you're telling me. So like, why did she do that? I hate it.
I don't know. I there's so many questions I have about this book. Oh, and it's crazy because at the end, I ended up. I think if you look at my review, I say 4.5 stars. I gave it. I rounded
I
up
want
to
talk
5.
to you about this.
And the reason is strictly vibes. Like the last 50 pages were like, holy shit, page turning.
No,
and
you're
like,
going against everything you've ever said on this podcast.
I know.
You're a
I know.
fucking hypocrite.
I know.
Would you read this book again?
No.
Okay, then it's not a fucking 5
I
star.
know. I know.
So change your rating or change your mindset.
But I think that things don't have to always be consistent across the board all of the time.
No.
But this is an this is an outlier for me. This book is an outlier for me because I have so many conflicting opinions about it. Because like looking backwards, part of me is like this should be a 2.
Yeah.
It's not written well. The sentences are terrible. There's error.
You're a Sarah J. Maas stan. You're literally as bad as a Swiftie.
I'm not.
You're a fucking Mossy. You're a Moss hole.
I publicly. Oh my god.
let her finish. Go ahead.
I publicly, very much like talk shit about this book.
But you gave it a 5-star rating.
But I think I want to change it.
Oh, okay.
Now
I feel
have
bad.
not yet rated it. I finished it yesterday. Right?
That's
and
crazy.
When I know, right? When I put it down, I literally I knew the ending because Bloomberg spoiled it for me.
Which I told y'all that was gonna happen.
Yeah, I
No, you
give a
told me.
fuck.
You didn't
I don't
tell
No, I told the whole world
normally-
that they were gonna spoil it.
Yeah.
I normally care about spoilers a lot. I don't like to be spoiled.
That was
As
a big
someone who does
spoiler. That was a big
podcast.
spoiler.
Huge. You should not have that line anywhere.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's the line alone should not be put anywhere. But
I disagree, but go on.
No, I'm also at the point now with this series, and I felt it in book 1. I don't think it's for me. I don't think I care enough about this series.
Yeah.
I think I finished with Sarah J. Maas on ACOTAR.
Same.
I think when I finished ACOTAR, I was done. I
Same.
was set. I was happy.
Same.
And then Crescent City came out, and I was like, okay, I guess. And then with that fucking Bible of a book, I said no.
I don't know if
never
I would.
again.
I don't know if I would continue this series. If
I
it wasn't
don't
for
think I am.
Ryson.
I'm done.
Really?
I'm done. I'm gonna wait for Carrie to post book 3.
Same. That's why.
And I'm done. I don't think I want to do it anymore. I
I'm with you.
commend Sarah. I commend Sarah on the fact that she can build up characters.
That's
like
cool.
nobody's business.
It's very cool
Man,
what she's
she
created.
builds up characters and she makes you fall for them. And
Yeah.
she gives like
It
I love
is
Rune.
so
Yeah.
hard.
I
It is
love Rune.
so
Yeah.
fucking hard to write, and this is where I think people get caught up, right? They get caught up in Sarah's line verb, like
I fucking
writing,
hate it.
right?
I hate it.
Like her line by
Yeah,
line
yeah.
is not good.
No,
It's and
juvenile,
that's where
dude.
people get really, really caught up. It's saying like she's not a good writer because
she's not a bad writer by any means.
Let me finish
Yeah.
this, right? So people get caught up because they're like, she's too repetitive. She does this. This isn't good and this is bad and blah blah blah. The way that she crafts characters and overall story arcs and the as convoluted as this is, these storylines are fucking, they come around.
It's that meme
They
from
all
Always Sunny
come
with all
around.
the lines everywhere.
It
and you're
does.
like, it makes sense, I swear.
Do they
For
all
you
come around,
to
though?
care about the that many characters the way that you do, the fact that you love Rune the way that you do,
Love
the
Rune.
fact that you like
Lahaba,
and you have a feeling about Jessica and you feel something
not
about
easy to
Fury,
do. Yeah.
it is so fucking hard
Yeah.
to 1, write all those characters, 2, make them all likable, 3, keep them consistent with their choices,
Their morals.
the way that they talk,
Yep.
their voice, their
Yep.
actions,
Yep.
everything has to be consistent, because then you start going down these paths
bring
of
receipts.
I gotta find it. Keep
of
going.
Rune starting to say something or do something weird, and you're like, well, that's not like Rune.
That's not Rune, yeah.
Because then you start fucking noticing it's so incredible. She is a big picture writer.
Yeah.
She is a big picture
And
writer,
I
and you
commend her
have
for
to.
that. I really do.
You have to commit to it because
But I
you're
can't.
going to get frustrated along the way. The way that I'm frustrated right now with this book, because this was a fucking mess. This book was a mess.
It felt like I was on a lot of side plots that without like I don't know. Maybe I'm just too dumb. I'm too dumb.
So going into the topic of characters, right?
Okay.
Somebody made a comment on Carrie Can Read's video that
Okay.
I thought was brilliant. So Carrie mentioned that Danica throughout the book, because I didn't read it, I'm really sorry. I wish I could speak genuinely to it. But throughout the book, Danica does her best work off page, right? So it's not written when she's like doing some side quests that we don't read
no,
about.
Bryce. You mean Bryce?
Bryce, sorry, not Danica. Bryce is dead. I mean, Danica's dead.
Yes. Bryce.
So Bryce is doing a lot of her work off page. She'll
Yep.
come back and it's like, oh, she solved this amazing
Yep,
thing.
yep.
Somebody had commented it has 1,000 likes, and I think it really does speak volumes
Interesting.
about the writing. Bryce doing her best work off page is a great example of an author writing a character that exceeds their writing capabilities.
Ooh.
And I'm sorry, but I have to agree.
Ooh.
I think so too. I think she is so lost in the sauce in this book.
Yes.
That this story has taken over her ability to write consistently, because so the reason I say this specifically, I think that's a fantastic comment. It's a great way to say it. There's a lot of typos in this book.
Yeah, who was the editor of this fucking book?
So what does that
You have
tell
to
you?
have some words.
Yeah.
What does that tell you when there's a lot of typos in a book that is probably been read by 500 people, right? Like there's so
Like,
many people
before
that are
going out,
working
yeah.
on this book. What does all of those edits mean? That means that this book has been fucking torn apart, that it has been so overly edited. All of my
good
mistakes
point.
that are in my book are parts that I was reworking 100 different times, and I just because I was doing it so much, I missed it.
Right,
And I
right.
thought I reread it enough and I didn't. That's where all those typos are coming in. So to me, all of those typos indicate that this book was heavily re-edited. And that means that there's problems within this book. Like they
Yeah.
knew
I just think
there was
I
problems.
just think it's too much. And I understand that Sarah is building a world.
It's so
It's
hard.
massive.
It's so
Yeah.
hard.
It's
Yeah.
a massive world, and I commend her for it. I really do. But at the same time, it's exhausting as a reader to go through it.
Like
Like
too much.
Therion is a fun character. He's one of the
He's
mer
so
people.
useless. He's
Yeah.
so
But
useless.
he's fucking useless.
So that whole storyline is so fucking
Like,
stupid.
I couldn't even
but
keep
now
up.
I hate it.
But I wonder if for book 3, what's going to happen? Because backstory on Therion real quick. He's part of the River Queen's kingdom or whatever. And the whole time he's trying to find Emil, this little kid that was with Sophie Renast, one of the
I like the
rebels.
Thunderbird stuff. Yeah.
But then I'm
Thunderbird stuff is
what's-
great.
What's
What's the point?
Hunt?
Yeah.
What's Hunt then?
Oh,
'Cause
He's
true.
a Thunderbird.
True.
So
Hunt's a
why
Thunderbird.
did no one ask the
Did we
question?
introduce all those characters just to
Just
get
to
that?
Get
Yeah.
Hunt to be a Thunderbird?
That's
because
crazy.
Emil's
My
not a
thing is,
fucking
That's
anything.
Why did no one say it throughout the book?
Yeah.
Well, Hunt, you have thunder powers.
Yeah.
Why
Yep.
can't?
Just 'cause he has
Why
angels
couldn't that have been
wings?
something else?
Well, I mean, the whole point of this whole thing is to find out the Asteri are stealing the second and the first and the last light, right? And like that's the whole main bad thing. I mean, there's a lot happening, but that's like the big overarching thing that's like
the
fucking
big
everybody up.
reveal.
But they see, and they had a battle with Hell, right? The Asteri. They see the Underking a million times throughout this book is what it sounds like based off the plot that was given to me. Why didn't, when they see the Underking, who I imagine is part of hell, why wasn't he just like, yo, the Asteria are fucking bad, we could team up?
I don't know. None of
I
it
don't think
fucking makes sense.
I don't think the Underking is part of hell. The
Oh, he's
Underking is
not.
part of the Bone Quarter.
But does he know?
That's a no, but the
But
prince.
The prince of one of the princes of
The
hell,
prince
the
of
one
hell.
that's telling Hunt, like, hey,
and
fix your
Adis.
powers, like do
Adis?
more. Adis wasn't in this book. That was the Asteria pretending to be Adis.
Like, just tell them, like, what's going on. You know what I mean?
No, because the book would end. The book would end early.
I just need a better reason.
It's so much information, and it's so fucking not well done, and it's so poorly executed, and it's
And Danica's the
but
worst
the
friend.
end was so fucking good. Danica.
The TikTok that I sent you to of that thing with Lizzo in it, I don't know what the show or movie it is, but it's like, are we best friends? And she's like, I'm definitely your best friend. That is Danica and Bryce.
Yeah.
Danica didn't give a fuck about Bryce.
Danica's not a good friend.
No.
Danica's not a good friend. There's no like ifs, ands, or she is the most infuriating character of all time.
And she's dead.
She's dead, and I
Could you
would
imagine?
fucking bring
Yeah.
her back to kill her again.
She might come back.
No, she's dead.
She's
done.
dead.
My thing is, like, I don't think I liked Bryce's character this time. And I'm sorry that we're bashing a lot of this book right now.
Oh no, this is a full rage read.
I gave it 5 stars, but it's a
Sorry.
rage read.
It is.
There's a lot of people who love this series, and I don't like being a Debbie Downer on the series.
I think
love.
a lot of people who love it hate how it's portrayed too. They
Yeah,
like the
maybe.
last 50 pages.
Yeah, I think I like the last line.
Yeah, exactly.
But I also don't like that we're doing that. But whatever. So throughout this, I felt like Bryce felt different in this book to book one.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce in book one, I think the motivations were clear. Danica had just died, and she really wanted to figure out the answers. For this one, it felt like we just regurgitated that process of, what do you mean Danica lied to me again?
Yeah.
I must find out why.
Well, think about your best friend and like finding out that like you don't fucking know her.
Then I don't know her. She's dead now.
Yeah,
I
true.
know, but like that,
Like, if she was still
I think
alive,
that- I
makes
think-
sense. But if she's dead, like, she's dead.
I
Yeah.
think it makes sense that Danica or that Bryce is like acting irrationally and
Oh yeah.
weirdly because everything she knows is upended.
I don't think irrationally is what I have a problem with. I think it's the motivations are only because of Danica.
Right,
She's
right.
obsessed.
She's obsessed with Danica, and I kind of
I don't understand how Danica had all the time to do all this shit. Like, there's no fucking way.
Well, what else was she
When
doing?
I was with my college roommates, we all knew where the fuck. I knew their I knew their class schedules. We would go to lunch.
That's
I would know
psychotic.
this. I would know
a bit
that.
obsessed.
Yeah. No, but like we were living in the same space. We know when we were coming and going. We knew
Sure.
like
Okay.
all of those things. I knew when they were in the library, or you know what I mean. Like you just naturally kind of know all of that stuff because you're like friends with this person too, so you want to hang out with them. And it's like, how did you not know she was boinging had a mate and like was actually like sleeping with somebody?
Also, wouldn't she smell different if she had a mate?
Yeah, isn't that a whole thing?
Totally.
But Bryce is a
She
human, so she's
was
not.
doing all of this research, was like
With her history degree.
being like basically like an assassin type, whatever. Like you know what I mean? She was being like a hunter,
spy.
hunter spy, like assassin.
Maybe we'll
whatever.
get Danica's book.
And then she was also fucking.
We might get Danica.
We might
prologue.
get Danica's book.
I mean, I just don't understand how she had all the time of the day, and then she was partying at night with fucking Bryce. Are you fucking kidding
Maybe
me?
Bryce just kept passing out.
What
I don't
about
know.
Bryce and Hunt? What is
Also,
that?
what the fuck, Danica? You tattooed her back?
I don't like that at all.
What?
The fact that she put the horn in Bryce's back still kind of irks me. It's like
That's
The
such
horn,
a dumb.
the horn is from Silver Flames.
Yeah, I don't like that whole like plot though, where it's like she is the horn. Like, come on.
Oh my god, it's so stupid. And then
It's
like
goofy. That's the word that I wanted to use.
Goofy.
There's a lot of stuff in this book that are just a little too goofy for me. Corny.
one of my favorite parts though is like when I think it's Ethan standing on like her glass table.
dude.
Oh, and he finds the information.
Ethan takes Danica's sword
And is
out of
playing
Bryce's
with-
bedroom,
Yeah.
and he's literally like playing sword.
I like
in
Ethan,
this-
by the way.
Sure, he's fine, but he's playing sword in the middle of the
It's
living
such
room.
a fucking dude thing
Jumps
to do.
on
Yeah.
the coffee table and breaks it, and within the coffee table were Danica's papers.
I did laugh out loud at that when we got to that point.
It's just like so silly.
but
It's so
but
silly.
we had to go through the whole scene of Ethan in the apartment, grab the sword, play with the sword,
Yep.
just for him to jump on it to break it. Like, oh look, Danica papers.
wow,
I don't
you're
like
right.
I don't like the plot line either that like he's in love with Bryce.
I didn't like that either. It was very
Ugh.
Damon.
They needed
and
something.
Stefan type of thing.
Or she
I
needed
don't know.
something.
I think it was
What about
fucking
Bryce and
weird.
Hunt? How do we feel about their relationship in this book? Was it not as...
I like my favorite romance in this book is Rune.
Yeah.
I think Rune
Rune
is
is
the
Everybody talks
all-star.
about Rune. Everybody
Rune
talks about
Dannon, the crown prince of the like he is it. He is fucking
Rune
it.
is great.
He's Reese, right? Like they
Yeah,
are
yeah.
basically it's him, Dorian, and Reese and that.
Do you think they're gonna
like,
be cool together? Like they're gonna be a fun, like when Reese and Ruin eventually meet, because I'm sure they will.
They apparently look alike.
yeah, they look alike. So I don't know what that's gonna.
I thought that night. I mean, I thought that day was gonna be somebody from.
I was
Avatar
really surprised it was Lydia.
I actually
I
love.
was really
I
surprised.
loved that. I loved that
I
it was
love
the
them,
Hind.
yeah.
I thought like
I say it's the hind.
the Hind.
It's a hind. It's
oh.
a hind.
Oh.
She was getting it wrong.
Oh. Whatever.
So like a hind leg.
Oh, okay.
Which is so fucking. Oh my god,
I
that
don't
was
like
another
all
thing
those
that
things.
I fucking hated.
All the H's, the hellhound, the hind.
I hate all the hammer, all of them. They're so
the
fucking,
hammer.
They're so fucking stupid, and it's like Sarah J. Maas, you're so good at shit. Why is this so bad?
He's
It's
just
so
bad with
many
names.
moments.
We've gone over this. The names
There's
is where
so
she
many
struggles.
bad names and so many like.
I love.
I just want to jump into her
God.
mind for a
My
day.
God.
It's too much. It's like SpongeBob's mind when he's going crazy.
It's got to be her brain all the time.
Yeah, I can't.
Just people
can't do
running
it.
around.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it.
I mean, again, like this story is so convoluted and so amazing. The characterizations are so fucking good. People are so in love with these characters. Found family is so fucking hard to do, and we are in love with a side character that like
That's why I think she does so well.
it's so
She does
unbelievably
Found Family
good. Like
so well.
you
Yeah.
fucking hate everything about this,
When Ethan got his
and you
pack.
still fucking somehow love
cute.
it.
Yeah.
You hate it, but you love it, and it's so confusing.
It's like watching reality TV. Like you hate it, but there's that one person on that show that you like so much that you would like.
However, I turn back to this. She had 2 very successful series. She has the runway to fucking fuck around.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
that's the difference to me.
But
And
is she gonna find out?
and I'll bring up this in our Iron Flame episode. Rebecca Yarros did something very similar. Her Iron Flame was a fucking mess as well, and it felt very different, or felt very similar in the same ways. Like the
I was
places
gonna say this too.
where they're
Yeah.
it's messy,
fucking long.
it's very
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
Sarah J. Maas has 2 fucking very successful fantasy series.
It just feels like
Rebecca
stay
Yarros,
in your
you
lane.
have a couple of good romances, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You don't have the runway that Sarah J. Maas had.
I mean, anybody has. You could do whatever
To
the
do
fuck you
this.
want. You be your own person and be your own author.
No, but
have
like-
fun. But
no,
I agree.
but
But people are
if
gonna
you're making
react.
people read 800 pages of Bible pages,
Yeah.
it's a different story.
No, I agree. I just it was just way too much, too convoluted, and too many
But
things.
the end is cool. I mean, like it. I wasn't expecting it. I like definitely was not expecting Reese, right? Like
Really?
I was not expecting
spoiled,
that.
so I knew.
That sucks. I'd be pissed if I was
I
spoiled.
don't. But you know what? I'm not as invested in this series as others are, so I'm
Fair.
okay.
Fair.
So
I'm okay.
a lot of people are on this and they're like, I don't understand like why they would spoil this and blah blah blah. It's like, how are you not fucking connecting these dots, man? Like, are we on a different? Are you in fucking Crescent City right now? What in the fuck are you talking about? If you like, let's say you are a really big ACOTAR fan and you didn't read Crescent City and you see this. You see that Reese is in fucking Crescent City.
You're
3.
gonna go read.
Aren't you
Avatar.
gonna fucking
Yeah.
read Crescent City?
It's
for-
marketing.
at the bare bones minimum. Maybe you don't buy book 1 and 2, but you at least buy Crescent City 3.
Oh my
ACOTAR.
god! Imagine jumping in on 3.
I would if
no.
I like really didn't want to fucking read it. And I was a really big ACOTAR fan.
Well, here's the thing about ACOTAR,
Right?
though. I want to say, and I do agree with you in a sense that, like, yes, she has 2 good ones under her belt. Now she can kind of fuck around. But the thing about ACOTAR was I wasn't pissed when I read it, and it's not even because it was literally what I was saying before. Like the writing,
It was better.
it was just
It was
a lot better.
It was better.
I guess like things were.
But again, like I
So
think
what about
she had
Tog?
more rope.
What about the other series? Like, is it?
Throne of Glass.
Tog is tough. So she started
Curious
writing
about
Tog
Tog.
when she was 16.
Which is crazy.
So the first 2 books in Tog are, I would say, I would give them a very generous 4.
Okay.
Very generous, and in a lot of cases 3. In a lot
Are
of people,
those giant books?
no,
Okay.
they're 350s, like
Okay,
350,
There's like 6 of them.
400.
Let's get back
But
to
there's
that.
there's 6, 7 of them.
That
Oh,
should have
so-
happened in Crescent City. I think Crescent City should be broken
I
up more.
Yeah.
The third
that's
Tog book, I think, gets a little bit longer, and that's where things like start to really pick up, and she obviously hits her stride. What people complain about that series is they're like, well, I shouldn't have to go through 2 books that aren't that great. And it's like, well, she was fucking 16. So like, what do you want me
Yeah,
to say?
let's
I
get
don't-
some
I don't, like,
leeway. Yeah.
maybe she should rewrite them. I don't fucking know.
I do think though that she was shoving way too much into 1 and 2 books. Like I agree. I think like
This
you could have
been a 6-book series.
this could have been a whole universe of books. Like you could have done an entire series on certain like characters and clans and
Which is
like
why I'm
drag
thinking
like
it
do
feels
the
Cassandra
Marvel
Clare.
thing, you know? Like we're getting to Endgame too
I
quick.
like the fact that this is all interconnected. I think
I
that
do
it's
too,
so
but
smart.
she could have dragged this on for
Yeah.
10 more years and waited for that Endgame moment, just like Marvel did. Like, remember how big of a fucking deal Endgame was, or like how Avengers was when everybody came together in the theaters? And I mean, it was
Yeah.
giant. If she dragged this on, like she could have made a series about fucking whatever, Thunderbirds, a series
She could have
about
made a Civil War series.
You know what I
like,
mean? Yeah.
Literally, what I'm nervous about for CC3 especially is that we're not gonna have that Endgame moment.
yeah,
I'm very
I'm
nervous
very
because I feel like
curious.
y'all are gonna fucking hate me. You're gonna hate this.
Welcome back.
The second I get that ebook, I am looking up.
No, Erica.
I am searching
No.
Straight to the
Aelin.
end.
I'm searching Rowan. I'm searching
Erica.
Lorcan. I'm searching Reese. I'm
Please don't
searching
do that.
fucking everything.
Please don't do that.
Everything.
She's allowed.
I actually
need
thought
to
Morgan was
know.
gonna be Day. That's what I was like. The girl, though,
More?
she's bisexual, right?
Morgan.
Yeah. And I was like, I think that imagine if she ends up being Day, and I felt like her and Ruin would be a cool.
So there's a theory that Gwen, remember Gwen?
yes,
Is Bryce's sister.
yeah. Oh,
What?
interesting.
And the Autumn Court King in Crescent City
so the Autumn Court
is related to Lucian in the Autumn Court in
Oh.
in
I've
think
always
that's
thought
what
that because
confused-
Lucian's hair is red, right?
I think I was confused about Bryce's heritage. Like her parents aren't like her dad isn't the king guy.
Yes.
No, he is. She is.
Okay, because I
Her
got
stepdad is Randall.
okay.
Yeah.
She has
Ember
a
is
stepdad.
human.
That's what it is. Okay, that's what confused me.
Ember's
Yeah, yeah,
human.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
The one thing that I do like about this book that I will be very consistent about, of the 3 main females, or even actually of all the female characters in all of Sarah J. Maas's universe, Bryce is the one character that I feel like is like I closely like identify
Mhm.
with. Like
Yeah.
I like the way that she internalizes things, the way that she reacts to things, the way that she experiences grief, and like even like the party girl style of her, and like the way that she is about things. Like it just like I've never seen myself so much in a character.
That's awesome. I can't
Which
even
was
tell
cool.
you
Erica is
who-
Bryce.
Couldn't even tell you who the main character from Akatar, the girl was.
Feyre.
Feyre, that's the one.
Yeah.
I forgot about her.
But I think like
couldn't tell you anything about her.
Aelin is like who you want to be. Like Aelin's cool as shit.
Who's Aelin?
I don't know.
And-
She's part of
and
the
Tog.
rebellion.
Oh, Aelin. Okay, I thought
Is
that was
Tog.
the guy.
And then like Feyre is just like chill. Like there's a lot of people that identify with Nesta and Elaine and blah blah, blah like all these.
If you
people.
identify with Nesta, I'm worried about you.
Well,
I don't know. Crescent City, I enjoyed Aquatar. Really loved those books, to be honest with you. And I think it was because we stayed in the fantasy realm and it didn't feel.
Oh, I can't believe
I felt that felt
we
more
didn't talk
adult.
about this.
What?
My biggest gripe with this book is that we go, I think it's 1,800 pages without a single sex scene.
That's why I brought up Bryson Hunt. I thought maybe you
I
would mention
thought
it.
it felt
I
like a
completely
lot.
forgot about that. That's a long time.
Do you mean
Between
putting book
pa-
1 and book 2?
Yes.
Why were
Across
they not
2
having
books.
sex? You kind of
For
mentioned it.
no fucking reason. No fucking reason.
Hold on. There is a reason.
It's not a good
There
one.
is
Let
not a
Maria
good
say the
But there's a reason. So once they come back after saving the town or the city from, the whole bombardment and stuff, Bryce decides, hey, I don't want to get physical with you. I want us to get to know each other now that things are normal.
Okay, that's fair.
And so
Fucking
we won't have
weird.
sex until the winter solstice is spring.
Such an arbitrary
So
amount
imagine
of
saying to someone
time.
in April, like, hey,
Yeah.
I just met
Didn't
you.
they already kind of get to know each other the
they
whole
had a
first
steamy
book?
moment, but they hadn't had like actual like sex.
Yeah.
So they said they wouldn't have sex until the winter solstice.
What a weird thing. Like you put a time limit on yourself.
It's so fucking weird.
And did they got to know each other throughout the whole first book?
But under duress, under a whole Danica trying to find out,
Yeah, I mean that's still the
Murder
second book
mystery
too.
Like,
it's still
what?
book 2. It's nothing changes. But yeah, then they eventually they have other steamy moments, and she's just like, you know what? Never mind. I don't want to wait till winter solstice.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
because she says that I don't want to wait anymore, then things start happening that keep stopping them from having sex. Ethan shows
It's
up
so
getting beat up
fucking
by
stupid.
Sabine.
That's
it's
annoying.
so fucking stupid. And I don't know if it's because she got so much backlash from Silver Flame being too smutty. Like, I don't.
Did she?
What?
Yeah. I don't know why there was no anything, or like maybe she doesn't want it to be steamed.
Yeah, maybe this was just
I
not meant to
don't
be
know
that.
what the rationale behind it, but I don't appreciate having to made wait for a romance to fucking pop off
You
for
don't appreciate
1,800
the blue
pages.
balls?
Okay,
1,800
no,
pages.
You said this in Crescent City 1, and I did want to address this, that a romance, like, between two people isn't just about sex. You keep saying this. You're like,
And
it's
they-
not a romance. They didn't fuck. Like, that doesn't mean everything.
No, I'm talking about there's no intimacy whatsoever.
Like,
between
no
them.
kissing or
There's
anything?
no kissing. There's no, like,
But
there's no
there's
intimate
pining.
moments.
There's pining.
There's barely
Okay,
any pining.
that's different.
I
then.
disagree.
There's barely any
I
pining.
think this book had way more about them, like in the
it's
pining.
bad.
And
It's bad. It's not
that
good.
is different.
Yeah,
than
than not having
it
it.
entirely.
Yeah.
There's a difference
It's
here.
still a romance.
It's not a good one.
It's a relationship that's built.
But that's what I'm saying.
But
Like, you're not giving
Rune and Day.
anything.
Look at Rune and Day. Well, Lydia.
Their romance was fantastic, and
They
they didn't have sex until the end. Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm not complaining about the fact that there's nothing. I'm complaining that I went 1,800 pages and I literally could probably fill up 7 pages worth of their like
Romance in
pining
general?
romance. Versus we had an entire book.
Your point.
Yeah.
There's not enough of. There's 1,800
She thinks
pages,
that even
and
their
there's
relationship-
literally no romance in the first one. Like none.
Yeah.
So then we're waiting for this
Well, it's building.
to fucking happen, right?
Okay.
And we finally get to it, and they're like, we don't really actually want to do anything about it. And
But they're
like
still together.
But they're separated for a lot of it. They keep getting separated. There's not like a lot of like getting to know each other.
This isn't a romantasy.
I know it's
urban
just
fantasy.
it's not good.
Not romance
It's the
first.
whole thing is their relationship is not good.
Okay.
It's not well done.
Okay.
But that's why people like the Rune and Lydia one, because it actually
Because Rune's a
feels-
better character. I'm sorry, I like Rune better than Hunt.
me too.
Most people
Hunt is like a dry whiteboard to me compared
Yeah,
to Rune.
most people do.
Rune
I
has
love how
some-
everybody is the best looking fucking thing
Dude,
on the
can
planet.
Sarah not write one ugly character?
How are they all so sexy?
Cannot one person be ugly?
It just feels so fucking lame to me.
It feels like full of
I feel
vanity.
like Ethan should be ugly.
They all talk like idiots and they all look
I
amazing.
understand the Fae generally in books, they're always beautiful. I get it.
Yeah.
But there are still scary Fae creatures.
Yeah, give me
Why
something
can't we
cool.
have people who are
then
just
it's a monster one.
Yeah,
Why-
and that's the thing.
not
Why do
all
they have
monsters
to be, yeah,
you know,
bad?
the bad ones?
Also, I have a question.
Yeah.
Was any of the sex in this book as cringy as Carrie
Carrie says.
mentioned?
So
no, I don't agree with some
be-
of her stuff.
because I listened to it and read it like physically at the same time, I had the narrator, you know, like adding her little zhuzh into it.
Ugh.
That's what makes it weird for me on a sex scene.
Yeah.
That's how
I
weird
don't
it is.
like listening to sex scenes.
It's pretty
It's
horrible.
not good. But she did great at like Cormac's
Oh, fucking
accent.
Cormac.
Oh, okay.
So Cormac is a prince that comes in. She's like cousin. He's like a cousin of Bryce and Rune, and he shows up and he's just like, "Yo, you're my new fiance." And Bryce is like, "The fuck I am," and he's like Scottish or whatever, Scottish accent. So the narrator for the audiobook did it in Scottish. So that was fun to listen to. But I don't know. I don't really care for Bryce and Hunt anyway.
Yeah.
I don't either, and I think
I'm not.
But
I'm not
that's
pining
what
for
I'm
it.
saying.
Yeah.
You have 1,800 pages and nothing happened. In
No,
those
I think the
1,800
point that we
pages
were saying is
leading up to anything.
that doesn't mean that is not a romance. That was like my whole point, was just because somebody doesn't have sex or they're not like making out. There's still a
No.
romance happening.
There is.
Like
but
there's
it's
a
bad.
building.
It's not
yeah,
well
that's
done.
that's what it comes down to. Is
I
you didn't
kept
like
thinking
it.
that Adis was gonna be Bryce.
People
Who's
are,
Adis?
Adis is the cat. The
Oh,
prince of hell
If
thing.
people,
of the cat.
people want Bryce to end up with Adis.
I
people
want
want
Adis.
Bryce to end up with Azrael.
Oh,
Whoa.
I
People
could
are
get
like-
behind that.
Yeah.
I could definitely get behind that.
So
she's gonna end up with Hunt.
Azrael, who she saw when she first
yes.
fell.
Yes.
Oh,
and
interesting.
SJM said that Brunt.
Brunt.
You just created the ship.
Their ship name is terrible. Their ship name is terrible.
That was not Brunt.
That's sad. The worst ship. That alone tells you they can't be a thing because their ship name is bad.
Yo, would you hang out with Brunt last night?
Heist is just as bad
That's
too.
so bad. That's so bad.
Okay, so Brunt is
Bryce.
Brunt is endgame with each other.
Oh, definitely.
But she says if they both survive.
Oh.
So she's killing Hunt.
R.I.P. Hunt.
I think Hunt might
She's
die.
killing Hunt.
Somebody's gonna die.
Yeah, but then they're
'Cause
still
every-
alive in the
every single
afterworld.
series, somebody dies.
You could just go visit them in the bone.
Oh, another thing that is not we didn't talk about is I think Amryn and Fury are the same
Are-
thing.
Same person?
No, the same thing.
Oh, the same. Like, whatever they're.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they look alike.
Because, like, what is
Yeah.
Amryn? I still don't understand
don't
that.
know.
Nobody knows.
No one knows.
Okay, okay.
Just like how Fury, no one knows who she
No one
is.
knows.
I got
They
it.
act the same. They're the same character.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I don't know how I feel about Azrael like getting with Bryce
Because
but
you don't want Azrael in your Bryce.
Well, they're
I'm
shit
excited. So what I think is
Braziel's kind of cool.
Braziel sounds
That's
better.
way cooler than
that,
Brunt.
yeah, it sounds like Brazzers. which
I was
is
going to
like
say it's one step away from Brazzers.
So what I think is gonna happen in the next book, based off of one, all of like Bloomsbury's like teasers and stuff, but also some of the spoilers that I know of, is I think Az and Nesta are a big part of book 3.
Okay.
I don't think there's a lot of Reese. I don't think there's a lot of
Oh,
Farah.
so she's going to throw him in and keep him away. All right.
Yeah, that
so
sucks.
well, I think she needs to build up Az. Like nobody
Before his book.
Yes, before his like.
He's got a book coming?
Mm-hmm.
well, I think
Everyone's
it's,
waiting for it.
it's gonna
Really?
be Elaine's book.
I thought he was the lamest character. I
that's-
know.
but
Don't
that's
come
the
at me,
thing.
please.
That's the thing is
Elaine's
that
even
he's
lamer than he is.
Yeah.
they haven't had their space to fucking breathe. But
Is that so?
yeah,
Yet every other character that no one gives a fuck about
Yes. Preach.
gets their own fucking 25
Preach.
pages here, 35 pages there. But Azrael, one of the Bat Boys, has not had enough screen time.
it's sad. It's
Sounds
sad
like a
reality.
plot to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah.
So I think there's potential for some feelings to grow.
Interesting.
Well, I don't know. I consider. Here's another thing. How do you think it's going to be having Bryce, who's coming from an urban fantasy world,
Yeah, good point.
into a just regular fantasy
Very
world?
good point.
And she doesn't speak their language.
Yeah, what is the writing going to be?
She's going to call Reese an alpha hole?
That's a really good point, actually. Like, what?
I don't know how
I
it's
think
gonna
you have
compute.
you have to stay in
maintain-
Crescent City.
Yeah, I think you have to maintain that again. So I feel like she bit off a little bit more than she could chew.
Yeah.
This series is like overstepping her writing abilities.
And you know what's going to be crazy is if we sit on this couch in however many months from now and we go, we were wrong about everything. This was the
She was
best series
unbelievable.
of all time.
Well, that's the thing. So there's two camps with Sarah J. Maas. There are people who think that her endings of books, Kingdom of Ash and A Court of whatever the fuck the last one was.
Akawar?
Akawar.
Yeah.
Yeah. They thought that those were not great endings.
I don't like
So,
Akawar
like,
as much as I like
they were
Mr. Fury.
fine. I just didn't care.
No, I'm saying like there are two camps. There are people who think that she does not write series endings well, and there are people who think I'm in the camp that I think she does them very well.
Yeah, yeah.
Oops.
I have every faith that like I might not like these two Crescent City books, but I feel like I'm gonna feel
Like, imagine the third
a
ties
sense of relief when
everything perfectly
that's what I mean.
together.
Like, I have a feeling that
Yeah.
I don't have with Iron Flame. I
Right.
have a feeling that I'm at least gonna have some sense of like
It's like
completedness with the third.
Do
like
think-
climbing a
Do you
mountain.
think it's because you have more faith in
Yes.
Sarah
Yes.
over Rebecca?
she's a moss hole.
No, I think that Sarah.
I'm fucking sticking with that. The moss holes.
Moss holes?
I love that. You got your Swifties and you got your fucking moss holes, and you are through and true #1 moss hole.
I don't think I'm a through and true mount.
No,
muscle.
yeah, absolutely you are. You've read every single one of her books, and you
Twice
love them.
over.
Twice over. You're gonna search for one of their names when you
But,
get
like,
this book.
okay, gun to my head.
You would
she's
wear
not
a
my
shirt-
favorite author.
You would wear a shirt that said "Aelin for life."
Wow. She's coming for you hard today.
like
Bat boys.
Bad boys, the wings right
You're a
there. It's
fucking
like,
moss
I-
hole.
Valaris.
Just own it. Just own it.
she's
not
She's
bad.
not my favorite author.
Who's your favorite author?
Either I would say Jeannie Frost or Suzanne Wright.
She's always said that. She's never deviated.
No, I agree. I just think she's
A
lying to
asshole.
herself. It's okay to be a moss
And
hole.
both of them write urban fantasies.
It's not a
so
bad thing
How
to
do
be
you
a moss
compare
hole.
this urban fantasy to your favorite urban fantasies?
I don't like that.
I
I don't,
don't
like it.
I can't wait to go. Actually, I kind of feel bad. I'm gonna like go on Goodreads later, and it's gonna be back down to like a 2, and I'm gonna be like, damn, we bullied her a little bit.
But like
I bullied her a
kind
little bit. Don't change your rating.
you know what? I'm not changing anything until I
Okay.
read book 3,
Okay.
and then I might
Apparently we
change
have
things.
to read 2 other books to get a rating for one.
That's fair,
But
though.
I do like sometimes I do rate
like
things
I said,
off
I could
vibes.
feel really bad about
I read
everything
a
you're
book
saying.
the other day. I was like, I know this book is not good, but I just feel some type of way after
I feel
reading
that.
it.
I do feel
and
that.
this is like I was like, this is a 5 on
I
vibes
think,
only.
I
That's
think
fair.
vibes are a very big proponent on ratings. We've talked about
Yeah.
this before. And you know how people say that she's not a good writer?
I think she's
didn't-
a good
I
writer.
didn't go line. No, I meant like Sarah J. Maas.
Oh.
line by
No, I
line.
think
She's
like
not a
line
good
by line,
line.
she's
She's
not a
not a
good
good
writer.
line editor.
I can't say anything about that because I'm
Right.
not looking at it.
You know who
Right.
also is not a good line writer is Sanderson.
Brian
Bryan
Sanderson.
Sanderson?
Yeah,
I don't
not a
know.
great line writer.
Yeah.
Great with overarching like plot story, but like line by line, not that fucking great.
I don't know if I agree with that. But
Again, I'm not dissecting that. I'm not going line by line being like, well, that's not good.
I'm a
That's not
happier
good.
reader because I don't.
Yeah.
she's cheeky by making the last, 50 pages amazing. So when you're done, you're about
know,
to rate
that's-
it.
You
That's
feel
stars.
you feel
That- I was gonna
so
say
much.
that. I was
Yeah.
gonna say that. She
Smart.
relies on her knowing she's gonna rock your world the last
Those
20
last
pages.
50 pages
It's
of this book were
literally-
fucking unreal.
It's like climbing
like
a
you
mountain.
were on the seat of the you were on that's what I was saying, like you should read at the bare minimum read the last 50 pages because you're on
would
the
make
edge
no
of your
sense to
seat
me.
being like, holy fucking shit, like are they gonna get out, like what is gonna happen here?
Don't
They're
read
in-
the last 50
I worry
pages.
about
It makes
I worry
sense.
about Rune and Hunt because they're still
so
captured
yeah,
by
like
the
they're
Asteri.
they got captured by the Asteri, but like
And
they're
Hunt's got
running
that
out
put
of
back on
there.
him, so now Hunt's a real slave again.
Wait, were the Asteri in
No.
Aquatar? I can't remember.
no.
No.
Okay.
The
I'm
Asteri to me is just
confused.
Volturi, man.
I think I'm confused how the worlds, because they're all different planets,
They're
right?
different planets,
They're
different-
basically world
different
eaters.
universes.
They're world eaters. They go to worlds and they
aliens.
like suck
Got
the
it.
life out of the world.
So the
There's a little bit of like Transformer.
the mech suits.
Yeah,
the
those
suits are a
suits.
little bit
The
Terminator.
suits reminded me of Iron Widow.
yeah, I
Um,
could see
it's
that.
a good
No,
mech
it
suits.
reminded me of Terminator.
So are
Okay, you reminded me of Iron Widow.
so are they all gonna come together? They all gonna come together in the end? The humans, there's gonna be an epic scene, an epic battle. We're just coming. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be like this epic scene battle.
There was an epic
thing
battle in
or-
Aquatar when the Mayflower came.
but I don't know who the bad guy is.
yeah,
Who's the bad
Asteri.
guy?
Asteri.
The
But
Asteri.
how many
They're
of them are
world
there?
Six.
eaters.
There's 6 of them.
Yeah, but they could be easily
Yeah.
fucking
Or
killed.
one of them got eaten by one of the princes of hell.
Yeah, so maybe that isn't
So
the
like,
big
how
bad.
are the Princes of Hell not? There's
They've
so
been
many.
trapped.
There's so many
Yeah.
fucking plot holes in this.
There is a
Where
lot.
it's like,
There's a lot.
why didn't this happen?
They have
why didn't
power
this happen? Why
banks.
didn't this
Just
happen?
fucking axe the power bank, and there goes all their.
Unplug it.
Yeah, unplug
How
it.
is this the best kept secret in? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
I
Like,
did think that when they were writing, or when Sarah wrote how, like, when Sophie went in and saw this information, when Danica saw this information, they come out white face. They come out
Like, come on.
like, oh my god, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just sitting there like, sounds about right.
but like,
I feel like I would be like, fuck.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding?
I would
me?
tell everybody.
Dude, really? Yeah.
Immediately.
Also, the fact that Danica didn't tell anyone, that Bryce didn't tell him until they're at the moment where they're about to really get fucked over. She's like,
Yeah.
well, they did this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it out loud so you know, because otherwise I'm going to die with it. It's just.
It's. I feel like if you remove all the fluff from this story, you
Too
remove
much.
all the fluff.
Too
You
much
take out all the extra words. You take out all the extra characters that don't really need to know about their story, and you look at
Until
the
the
main,
next book when they
the
pop up again.
base plot line, the overall, like with the Asteri and everything else. It's weak as fuck, and I stand by that. I think it was cool. I loved the whole power bank, the first light, the second light, but I think on its own, I think the story's too weak, and that's why we have 8,000 other things literally to distract us from the fact that this shit isn't that cool.
And I think it makes us want to look.
I can't believe we didn't talk about this. Go ahead.
I think it makes us not overlook, but over search for things. Like how
Yes.
she wants to go in and look for
yes.
Aelin.
Yes.
Just because the fandom is like, well, what if this goes to Throne of Glass too?
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's the smartest thing that she's done, and I think that this is something that Iron Flame is or like Rebecca Yarros is doing, and you kind of see this like intermittently among some authors where you get a fandom so obsessed looking for Easter eggs and fan theory. Fan theory is like the easiest way to get free marketing.
Yep.
Because now you have people obsessively decoding all of this shit, trying to like figure out your next move and and you have people just talking about it.
Yeah.
Excited about it.
Yep.
Talking
Word of
about
mouth
it.
is the best marketing.
Word of mouth.
True.
And this is like, I hate the term free labor when it comes to like talking about books, because it's like word of mouth is like literally from like prehistoric cave era, but so word of mouth marketing is like the best thing that you could possibly do, and creating scenarios where there are theory behind it, where you're like leaving a little bit of fucking taste.
It's literally why I went to see the Marvel movies. I was like, people are talking about it so much that I like have to go see it. I feel out of the loop.
Yeah. I'm the opposite.
People with ACOTAR.
I am the full opposite.
I know you are.
The more
which is
you
wild.
talk about it, the less I care.
That's crazy.
That's probably what's happening with this series. The more you hype it up for me, I'm like,
but I think
Hold on, she's yawning.
She's yawning.
Did I say this on the episode that I said, like, I'm gonna post a video probably later today, where I was like, I am, as your big sister, let me tell you that fan theory is always going to be better than what actually happens.
Yep.
In the book.
Same with fan fiction, bro.
I've
So
always
don't
felt this.
go too far into it.
I mean,
it's fun
fan art.
if you're like light on it. But like, I got so in the trenches with Game of Thrones fan theory, and I was so obsessed with like Azor Ahai and the prince that was promised and what all that means. And I was
so disappointed.
Fucking in the trenches.
Erica, same. We were at work at WWE and stuff. Remember, we would like our theories
in it
all day, the whole day. We'd be like, "Well, this is probably going to happen," and they're probably going north to distract them from going
in the
south.
corner. Be like, them dragons were cool though.
And then it ended up being so fucking stupid.
Yep.
Granted, I don't.
So
Is that
disappointed.
really the ending? But it wasn't even close. Like,
nope.
Even if it wasn't entirely like the exact ending, it wasn't even close.
Not even
to
in
the
the
best
same
fan theory that I saw.
Yeah, not even close.
So, what the that's where I'm concerned with some of these people, especially with Iron Flame, because I don't think Rebecca Yarros is that good of a writer to be able to like. I know we're talking about circle that.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I'm saying like fan theories in general are fucking dangerous because you get wrapped up in them.
So what were you gonna say? Like, I can't believe we didn't talk about this yet.
Yeah. Because
It's
it'll be our last thing, and then we got to wrap this up.
We're at an hour,
and there's no way people are still
the
listening.
Special editions. Okay, so there's like 6 special editions.
Yeah.
What?
With 6, so there's 6 different special. I think 6, maybe 5.
6?
Yeah.
With every single one of them has a different bonus chapter.
That's
and
fucked.
that's how I got spoiled about.
So what do you expect me to do? To buy
6 books?
$20 books?
That's crazy.
So
that's so. Oh, I hate that.
Hold on. So one of
that's
one
predatory.
Of our friends posted the picture on the Discord.
Fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, as an author,
do they
I would
look
be
different?
Like,
here we go.
No.
We have a Barnes & Noble version that's going to have a bonus scene of Bryce and Hunt. A Books A Million version that has a scene of Ember and Randall.
Dude.
Come on.
And
who would want that?
Who wants Bryce's parents? And indie bookstores are going to have Bryce and Danica scene.
Ugh.
Target.
Who would want that?
Target has a Rune and Lydia scene, which is how that's how I found out that Lydia was Day. I looked at this by accident.
Damn.
So I was spoiled. And then Walmart is going to have a Bryce, Nesta, and Asriel scene.
You know what this is?
So 5.
You know what this is? Stanley Cup. That's what this is.
What the fuck?
The Stanley, the cup that everybody's obsessed with now because they made a Target version that you can only get at Target, and people fist fought each other over it.
Seriously?
It's the worst marketing scheme of all time, and y'all are falling right into the trap.
Scummy.
I
think it's scummy.
Don't support that.
And I was talking to Kate about this.
And the
Your
ebook
dog.
doesn't have
That's
it.
what I was gonna
And
say.
the audiobook doesn't have it.
The ebook doesn't have it. The audiobook doesn't have it. And people are going to say, well, it's the publishers. The publishers are asking, like, Sarah wrote it.
How is
Sarah had to say yes. She fucking wrote the chapters. Someone else didn't write the chapters. So she's part of it.
Done with it.
I don't know, man. I just think
you know
don't
what?
support that.
I mean, from all the other SJM books, they post the chapters online. Like, somebody will post
Someone
a
always
link.
shares
Good.
online.
I will fucking blast that to the moon. I am going to repost it so excessively.
I think
not
that
all heroes
so
wear capes.
consistently, so that every single person knows that they don't have to buy multiple books.
yeah, I think
Because
that's where that line is.
fuck the man. Fuck the man, and I'm coming for them.
Hey, snaps. You heard it here
Single-handedly,
first.
I will
Erica
fucking
for president.
Yeah. Of the
I
world.
probably won't share Ember and Randall's.
Sorry. Go elsewhere for that one.
I feel weird about that one.
All right, let's wrap it up. We're done. We're no more Crescent
so
City right
I
now.
think if you had to ask me, what did you rate it, Maria? Like, really, what did you rate
Yeah,
it?
I am curious.
This is a 3.
3? I was
Yeah.
gonna guess 3 for you.
Because I was not having fun.
For
for
Yeah, I didn't have fun. I didn't have
85%
fun.
of this book.
Yeah.
I was literally like,
Totally agree.
and I couldn't just listen to it and just like do things.
Yeah.
If I tried to play Fortnite and listen to it at the same time, I was like, no, I have to fucking pay attention.
Yeah, that's bad.
Because it was too much. There's too much
It's-
going on.
yeah.
So I did a lot of like reading it physically on my Kindle and listening to it so it would fucking retain something.
Yep.
And I just felt like this isn't fun for me.
Again,
There were some moments that were like, ooh, like the Under King was scary at one point, or one of the Princes of Hell had a scary moment with the Mystics. With the whole Mystics thing was weird and scary. And I was just like, okay, that was a good 2 seconds.
Exactly.
Out of the 18-hour book or 20-hour book that this is.
Yeah. Again, I cannot
So-
recommend enough.
Carrie can read.
Carrie
man.
can
Go
read on
watch her.
YouTube. Watch the Crescent City videos. I did not
She
read
also
it.
did ACOTAR.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I didn't read these books, and I feel like I know everything I need to know without all the
Wrap her
bullshit.
with her hoodie.
It's
Dina
like
has a hoodie on today. It's really cute.
it's like watching or reading the abridged version. Just go do that.
Yeah, that's an abridged version. I can.
That's
stand
what
behind.
that's what we're getting out of this. Thank you, Carrie Can Read, for supporting
I would
and
love an
sponsoring this
abridged
episode.
version.
She
There
did
might be
not
one.
actually.
I bet you there are abridged versions of SJM books.
There
That
should
would be
be.
interesting.
Thank you,
805
everybody,
pages too
for listening to this episode.
Thank you. We're back.
Yeah, we're back. We're back, and we're ready to bitch.
Thank you for still supporting us while we take our breaks. We really appreciate it. It helps us a lot, especially during the holidays. It's just a lot on
Very
us over
excited to
here.
complain about books.
So excited to keep bitching about books.
Yeah, that's what we do.
We are the Betches.
We love you all. If you want to follow us on Instagram,
Follow us.
look up books_n_Betches, BETCHES. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We need more
YouTube.
subscribers, yo. Go over there. Even if you don't want to watch it, just hit that subscribe button for no reason. I don't even know if that does anything.
As they
for us.
say, it helps our channel grow.
Yeah, it helps our channel grow.
And
And
smash that like
You
button.
know what I hate when people say it supports it helps feed my family.
well, yeah,
Ugh.
it doesn't do that, but
I know.
just
Thank
if you,
goodness.
But have
No.
you seen people say that?
No.
Oh.
I would say it helps to support my channel.
books coming in this batch and not in this particular order. We read
Crescent City 2 we just did, right? Iron Flame. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell.
Britney Spears' book.
Britney Spears' is The Woman in Me.
And the Egg.
And
And
The
the
Egg
Egg.
by Andy Weir. Did you
Which
realize
one?
it was by Andy Weir?
Yeah.
I didn't know. Until
Yeah.
I was like looking. I was like, oh my god, Andy Weir. I freaking love him.
So you got a couple weeks, maybe even a month to, depending on, I don't know when we'll post these, but read those books if you want to be and go along for the ride. We love you all. Thank you so much for the support, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Oh my god.